Okay, when we think of rational expressions, we think of ratio. Okay, ratio is something over something. Okay, it's a fractions, 2/3, 3/4. Those are the things that we're talking about ratios. Okay, comparing students versus teachers. Okay, what happened when a ratio has a variables? Okay, you have variables on the numerators and variables on the denominator. Okay, then we need to simplify that. Okay, remember when you are talking about, let's say you have a ratio of 8 to 10. Okay, you're going to look at they are divisible by 2. So that's going to give me a 4/5. Okay, what happens if they have the x right next to it? Okay, then we need to include exclusion at this point. Okay, excluded variables. At this point, you are going to simplify this x. Okay, the x to the second and x to the first. Okay, besides simplifying that, you're going to say that is a 1 and that is gone. So you should have 4x over 5, where x cannot equals to 0. Okay, this is what we call excluded value. Okay, we always include excluded value with the given expression, not after you simplify. Do that before you simplify. Okay, let's take an example as 1a. Okay, they ask you to simplify an expression. Okay, and then state the excluded value. Remember, when you have something over something, the reason we do excluded is because you don't want anything to be over 0. This is undefined. Okay, that is the reason we are bringing in excluded value. Okay, you don't want the denominator to be 0. It's okay for the numerator to be 0, but it's not okay for the denominator to be 0. At this point, I want to set my exclusion as a to the third cannot equal 0. Therefore, a cannot equal 0. That's my excluded value. Okay, now let me simplify. There is 2. Okay, let me do this. There is 2a right here, and there's 3a right here. Okay, they have a square in common. So I want to make it as that's going to cancel out. That becomes a 1. Okay, so I'm going to have a simplified version of 21 over 7a. Okay, and then I look at 7 and 21 is the divisible by 7. So that's going to give me 1. That's going to give me a 3. So my final simplified fraction is going to be 3 over a with the excluded value as a cannot equal to 0. Okay, let's take 1b. Okay, it's given to me that 18d squared over 4d plus 8. Okay, let me get the excluded value out. Okay, remember, I don't want the denominator to be a 0. Okay, plus 8 cannot equal to 0. Okay, I'm going to solve. Cannot equals to negative 8. D, therefore, cannot equals to negative 2. Okay, and then I say, hey, I cannot simplify anything. 18d squared and 4d plus 8 does not have anything in common, but I can factor them out. Okay, 18d squared, I'm going to leave it there. But the 4 and the 8, it is, my GCF is 4. I'm going to take the 4 out. And if I take the 4, I have a d plus a 2. Okay, and then let me simplify 18 and 4. They are divisible by 2. That does give me a 9. That's give me a 2. So that's going to give me 9d squared over 2d plus 2. Okay? Remember, you cannot cancel out the d squared. You cannot cancel out these two. Okay, the reason is that the d and the d squared, the denominator has two numbers. Okay, the top has 1. Remember, if you cancel one thing on the top, you have to cancel exactly what's on the bottom as well. Okay, let's take number 2. 2a is asking you to do the same thing. Ask you to simplify the expressions and state any excluded value. So it's given to me that 2x minus 8 over x squared minus 2x minus 8. Before I set my exclusion, I need to factor it out. So I'm going to say my excluded. Okay, I'm going to take x squared minus 2x minus 8 cannot equal to 0. I'm going to factor out, so that's going to give me x. X is going to be two numbers multiplied together to give me negative 8, but we add up to negative 2. Okay, that's going to give me negative 4. And positive 2. So it's going to give me minus 4 and plus 2. Zero product property cannot equal to 0. X plus 2 cannot equal to 0. Therefore, x cannot equal to 4. And x cannot equal to negative 2. Okay, now let me simplify. So I'm going to have 2x minus 4 over x minus 4, x plus 2. Let's see, I'm going to cancel out. Remember I said what you do on the top, you have to do on the bottom. So I cancel the x minus 4. That is their GCF. So I'm going to have 2 over x plus 2. Remember, here's the 2, here's the 2. You cannot cancel it because the denominator on the bottom has the x tagging along. Okay, you can only do that when it's a multiplication. On the bottom needs to be 2x for you cancel out of 2. At this point, you cannot cancel it out. So my excluded, my simplification, simplified version of it is x plus 2, where x cannot equals to 4 or negative 2. Okay, let's take one more. I have 2b a squared minus 3a plus 2 and 3a minus 3. Okay, let me do the excluded value. 3a minus 3 cannot equal to 0. 3a cannot equals to 3. Therefore, a cannot equals to 1. Okay, let me factor the top. I have A, two numbers multiplied together to give me a 2, but we add up to a -3. That should be -1, -2. -1, -2. Okay, next one I have 3a minus 1. Let me go ahead and cross it out. That's what they have in common. So I should have a minus 2 over 3, and 1 minus a cannot equals to 1.